How many times have you told yourself, that's it, I'm done gambling, only to find yourself placing yet another bet just a few hours later? It's not because you're weak. It's not because you lack willpower. It's because the system is designed to keep you trapped. But here's the good news. You are not stuck. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to break free. I'm Steve Rose, a specialist in gambling addiction recovery, and in this video, I'm giving you 10 powerful strategies that have helped thousands escape gambling for good. And trust me, stick around till the end because this one's going to be packed full of the best practical tools to help you finally stop gambling. And the final strategy is going to be the key to making sure you never fall back into the cycle again. So let's get into it. Tip number 1, find your why. This means getting clear on your own reasons for stopping and keeping these reasons front of mind. One of my favorite quotes by Friedrich Nietzsche is when he said, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." In short, when trying to stop gambling, your why serves as an anchor, keeping you steady when things get difficult. But before clarifying your why, let's first look at your relationship to gambling. Right now, gambling might feel like a part of you, something you can't imagine living without. But let me ask you this. If gambling was a person, how would you describe that relationship? Think about it. Gambling promises excitement, but all it ever does is take. It drains your bank account, wrecks your peace of mind, and pulls you away from the people who actually care about you. And yet, every time you try to walk away, it pulls you back in with that false hope, telling you things will be different this time. That's not just addiction. That's a toxic relationship. And like any toxic relationship, the first step to breaking free is knowing why you need to leave. Because when the cravings hit, you need something stronger than that urge to pull you back. So how do you actually define your why? Here's what I want you to do. You can even close your eyes for a second and imagine this. Fast forward 1 year into the future. Imagine your life didn't change. You're still gambling. You're still chasing losses. You're still stuck in the same cycle. How does that feel? Now picture the opposite. Fast forward 1 year from now and you're finally free. No more stress over money. No more hiding. No more regret. What does that version of the future look like? How do you feel waking up in the morning? What do you have now that gambling was taking away? That's your why. You can even write it down. It could be as simple as, I want my family to trust me again. I want to be debt-free. I want to wake up without anxiety. Whatever it is, make it real. If you write it down, keep it somewhere you'll see it every day. On your phone, on your fridge, in your wallet. Because when the cravings hit, this is the anchor that'll keep you grounded. Once you have your why, you've already taken the first step. Now, let's talk about the next step. How to break the cycle and stop falling for the same trap over and over again. Tip number 2, play the movie until the end. So now that you have your why, let's talk about the trap that keeps pulling you back. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You get the urge to gamble, and in that moment, it feels like the right thing to do. You convince yourself, this time will be different. This time I'll win and walk away. But that's just a lie gambling feeds you. Because every time you win, what happens next? Do you cash out and quit forever? Or do you keep playing, raising the stakes, chasing the rush until you've lost it all again? Next time you feel that craving, don't just imagine the first few minutes, the excitement, the possibility. Force yourself to see the full movie till the end. See yourself placing the bet. You can even see yourself winning a little, then betting more, losing it back. Then you see yourself spiraling, chasing losses, feeling that pit in your stomach, feeling the anxiety and regret, and then the despair. Because that's how it always ends. Once you accept that truth, you take away gambling's power over you. And once you do that, you're ready for the next step, which is burning the bridge. Let's talk about how to do that right now. Tip number 3, burn the bridge. Now that you see gambling for what it really is, a cycle that always ends the same way, let's put some barriers in place to protect yourself. Because here's the truth. Willpower alone isn't enough. You can be highly disciplined in other areas of your life, have the strongest why, and even play the movie till the end, but when the urge hits, if gambling is still an option, that urge can still easily win, especially in early days. That's why we need to burn the bridge so that by the time you found a way around, you've already talked yourself out of gambling. And the best part, it's easier than trying to fight the temptation. Because instead of constantly trying to say no to gambling, you remove the option entirely. Here's how you do it. First, self-exclude from every casino or online platform. Delete your accounts, use Gamban to block all access to gambling sites, call your internet service provider to ask them to block gambling sites. Anything you can do to make access to gambling difficult is going to be an advantage here. Once you do this, the fight gets easier. The cravings come, but they hit a wall. And that wall gives you time and space to focus on rebuilding your life. Let's talk about another way to protect yourself when the cravings hit. Tip number 4, go old school. For this one, we're going to go back in time. Before smartphones, before online banking, before gambling was just a few taps away. Picture this, you got cash in your wallet, and when it's gone, it's gone. No instant transfers, no credit card swipes, no way to dig yourself deeper with just a few clicks. If you wanted to gamble, you had to physically go somewhere, pull out real money and hand it over. Back then, stopping was simpler because access was limited. But today, gambling companies have removed every barrier. They've made it effortless to lose everything in minutes. So if you're serious about breaking free, it's time to bring back those barriers. Here's how you do it. Hand over financial access to a trusted family member. Let them manage your banking, hold on to credit cards, or even change your online banking passwords temporarily. You can try using cash for daily expenses, resetting the meaning of money. Because when you physically hand over money, it makes it feel real, unlike tapping a screen. Also, if you gamble online, you can consider switching to a flip phone. By using a basic phone, you don't have access to gambling apps. I know you might be thinking, this sounds kind of extreme. And yeah, these are big changes. But here's what I can tell you. I've talked to countless people who've done this and they don't regret it. In fact, they tell me it's one of the best decisions they've ever made. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be forever. This is just giving yourself enough time to gain traction and recovery, to build the habits that will keep you free from gambling in the long term. And once you do, you'll be able to trust yourself with money again. So now, with gambling access blocked and your finances locked down, the next step is learning how to handle the cravings that still will be coming. So let's talk about a powerful way to ride out those urges without giving in. Tip number 5, surf your urges. At this point, you've done the hard work. You've blocked access to gambling, cut off easy access to money, and made it as inconvenient as possible to relapse. But here's the thing, those cravings, they're still going to come. And this is where a lot of people get frustrated. They think, if I feel the urge to gamble, maybe I haven't really quit. But that's not true at all. Quitting isn't about never having an urge. It's about knowing what to do when the urge happens. This is where urge surfing comes in. Think about cravings like waves in an ocean. They start small, they build, they peak eventually, but they always fade. The problem is, when you're stuck in addiction, every time a wave comes, you panic and dive straight into gambling to make it stop. But what if you just ride it out, even for just 15 minutes? You'll notice something. The craving doesn't stay at full strength. It rises and then it falls. And the longer you wait, the weaker it gets. So here's the trick. Instead of saying, I can't gamble ever again, just commit to waiting 15 minutes. That's it. Do something else, go for a walk, call someone, distract yourself, and after 15 minutes, if you still feel the urge, go another 15 minutes. Stack those blocks together and suddenly you've made it through an hour, then a day, then a week. This is how you take back control, by realizing you don't have to act on every craving. You just have to ride the wave. Now, let's take it a step further. What if you could predict those waves before they even hit? That's what we're going to cover next. How to identify and manage your triggers before they even hit. Tip number 6, identify and manage your triggers. Now that you know how to ride out cravings instead of acting on them, let's talk about how to make them happen less often. Because cravings don't appear out of nowhere. They have triggers. Specific people, places, emotions, or situations that flip a switch in your brain and make you want to gamble. Think about it like this. Gambling isn't just about money. It's about escape. When life gets stressful, when you feel bored, anxious, or lacking purpose, your brain has been trained to see gambling as the solution. But here's the thing. It's not really about the gambling. It's about what gambling is covering up. So here's what I want you to do. Over the next few days, track every time you feel an urge to gamble. Write down exactly what was happening before that craving hit. Were you alone? Were you scrolling social media? Did a payday just hit? Or were you feeling stressed, bored, or anxious? When you start seeing patterns, you take back control. Because once you know your triggers, you can prepare for them before they hit. And the best way to do that is replacing gambling with something that actually benefits you. Let's talk about how to do that right now. Tip number 7, fill the void. Now that you know what triggers your gambling urges, here's the next step. Don't just remove gambling, replace it. Because here's the truth. Quitting gambling isn't just about stopping a bad habit. It's about building a better life. And when you don't replace the void left by gambling, that empty feeling can pull you back in. Think about it. Gambling gave you something. Maybe it was excitement, escape, a sense of control, or even just a way to pass the time. But you can get those same feelings from things that don't destroy your life. So instead of asking, how do I stop gambling? Ask, what can I do instead? What's something that challenges you, gets you excited, keeps your mind engaged? Maybe it's sports, working out, playing music, starting a side hustle, or even reconnecting with friends or family. Whatever it is, you need something that gives you real rewards, not just the illusion of them. Because when you start building a life that excites you, gambling stops feeling like something you're giving up, and it starts to feel like something you've outgrown. And the best way to keep yourself on this path is surrounding yourself with people who get it. So let's talk about how having the right support system makes all the difference. Tip number 8, the opposite of addiction is connection. So now that you're filling the void left by gambling with things that actually add value to your life, let's talk about something just as important. who you surround yourself with. Because here's the reality. Trying to quit alone is 10 times harder. Why? Because gambling thrives in isolation. When you're alone with your thoughts, your urges feel even stronger. Your mind starts justifying, making excuses, convincing you that one little bet won't hurt. But when you have the right people around you who understand what you're going through, everything changes. That's why peer support groups work. Whether it's Gamblers Anonymous, online recovery forums like Our Problem Gambling, or even just a trusted friend who keeps you accountable. Having somebody to talk to makes all the difference. You don't have to figure this out on your own. There are thousands of people who've been exactly where you are and have made it out, and you can too. And to make sure you stay on track, let's talk about something that will keep you motivated and moving forward. Tip number 9, stack small wins. Now that you've built a support system, there's one more thing that will keep you going when times get tough. Tracking your progress and celebrating your wins. Because here's the thing, recovery isn't just about flipping a switch. It's about stacking small wins one day at a time until those days turn into weeks and then months and then years. And one of the best ways to stay motivated in the long term is to see your progress. Start tracking your gamble-free days using an app, marking a calendar, or keeping a simple notebook. Because every day you don't gamble is a win. And those wins add up fast. You can even make it fun and set up a gamble-free reward jar. Every week you don't gamble, you can put $10 in it. And over 6 months, you can use that money to buy something meaningful. Because when you shift your mindset from I'm giving up gambling to I'm building something better, staying on the path gets a whole lot easier. And the final step, making sure this isn't just about quitting gambling, but about healing the root causes driving your gambling. Let's talk about that now. Tip number 10, work on the root causes. Tracking your progress and celebrating your wins is a game changer. But here's the truth. If you don't address the deeper reasons behind your gambling, the urges will keep coming back. Because gambling addiction is not just about money. It's about escape. Escape from stress, boredom, anxiety, loneliness, whatever it is that gambling is numbing for you. Maybe it's financial stress, unresolved trauma. Maybe it's the fact that gambling was the only thing that gave you a sense of purpose or excitement. Whatever it is, the solution requires rebuilding your life from the inside out. This could mean one-on-one counseling, group therapy, or even deep self-reflection. It could mean finding new challenges that push you in a healthy way. Or it could mean learning how to handle stress without needing an escape. Because when you heal the root cause, you don't just quit gambling, you outgrow it. And that's the real win. It's not just stopping. It's becoming the best version of yourself who doesn't need gambling anymore. It's your chance at a fresh start. And if you commit to these steps, I promise you a life without gambling isn't just possible, it's worth it. So imagine this. You wake up in the morning, and for the first time in a long time, there's no pit in your stomach. No stress about how much money you lost last night. No scrambling to figure out how to pay the bills. You check your bank account, and instead of seeing a drained balance, you see money growing. You see stability. You see a future. You walk into a room, and the people you love trust you again. No more lies. No more hiding. Just real connection. Real presence. Real life. And when the weekend rolls around, you're not just glued to a screen chasing the next hit. You're out living. Maybe it's a hobby you've always wanted to start. Maybe it's just feeling free for the first time in years. This life is possible, and it starts with taking action today. And to make this easier, I've put together a free recovery roadmap, which contains a checklist of all the strategies we discussed in this video, followed by a week of daily guidance to help keep you on track. You can grab it for free at the link in the description. And remember, recovery isn't just about not gambling, it's about giving yourself the opportunity to become the best version of yourself so you can start enjoying life again.